Welcome to Decoding the Childcare Business. My name is Zuleika Hines, your host, and I'm so glad you're here because today we're going to discuss the landmines hidden in your childcare business. And first, I want to thank all of you for joining me, for being part of this journey with me, for tuning in every week and giving me your comments and your feedback. And I want to give a special thanks to many of you that have gone to the website beyondbasiclearning.com and added your name to the Childcare Intelligence System tool. There'll be more information about that coming up soon, but I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for your time, and I cannot wait to meet you. So let's get right into it. The landmines hidden in your childcare business. Before we start, our disclosure. The information provided in this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Please consult with a licensed financial planner, a CPA, or an attorney before making any financial decisions regarding your business, real estate, or insurance. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. The landmines hidden in your childcare business. Before we continue, don't forget to join our community. Don't forget to join us on Instagram or on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube Reels, and specifically come and visit us at our website. Because as the time goes on, I have special promotions just for you, my viewers. We're so excited to be able to kick off the tool. We're moving forward with it. And this tool is going to be a game changer for so many of you. And I want to make sure that you're the first one to participate and take advantage of this tool that is going to make your life and your financial planning and your decision-making process that much smoother and easier. Looking forward to seeing you in our journey. Let's talk about the landmines. Why passion is not enough to survive. 85% of childcare business closures were licensed home-based programs. And yet, the childcare business is scheduled to become over $109 billion by 2033. So there's a disconnect here by the closures of home-based childcare businesses and the explosion of the industry on the other hand. There are razor-thin margins for error. You really must understand your financial, your planning, and exactly how you plan to be able to overcome and be able to move this forward. The childcare industry, even though it operates in incredibly tight margins, a single misstep in funding, compliance, or legal structure can lead to your permanent closures. The data shows that passion for childcare is not enough to sustain a business. Today, I'm going to identify 5 landmines that take down your business. By showing you these landmines, I want you to get a pen and paper, write them down, take screenshots, or take a picture so you can be prepared to overcome this and at least be aware of them before they occur. You don't just need a business plan. You need a survival strategy. You're excited, you got the business running, you got a business plan, but have you come up with a strategy for the landmines that I'm going to share with you so you can be successful? Mistake number 1, underestimating what it really costs to open. If you're interested in opening up a daycare, if you're going to pursue a childcare center, if you want to be able to be profitable, you must take into consideration what it really costs to open. The license permit structure, the insurance premiums, the curriculum and equipment, and the marketing. The golden rule is that 3 to 6 months of operating cushion. Sometimes that is hard to attain. One way that I would recommend for you to do that is to prepay your mortgage once you know that you're going to pursue this. Prepay your fixed expenses. Because by doing that, you start giving yourself the buffer in those main expense items that take a big chunk of your money every month. you have to think about contingency planning. If this does not work out, do you have a part-time job? Do you have a skill that you can do on the side? Underestimating the real cost of opening is so real. In New Jersey, I was able to open in 4 months, triple the square footage that I could in New York City. There are real issues here that must be considered, and that is what you must undertake and review and consider. Talk to people that have opened a school recently, speaking to the building department, speaking to the licensing department from the moment that they submit their license until what time they open, to understand exactly the process and how long it takes. Another item that many underestimate is the real cost of staff. You've always been an employee and not an employer. Underestimating the cost of what that an employer pays for you is real. One of the benefits of a payroll company, some payroll companies will not only show you your tax obligation, but for me, my payroll company also demonstrated my additional expense to that person's rate or salary. And I thought it was really good that they added that additional information to the payroll, because when the employee got their check, they not only saw what they had to pay in taxes, but they saw what I had to pay in addition to their salary. I mean, it is so much to this that if you at least are there with your eyes wide open, you can go ahead and pre-plan for this landmine. So the true cost of labor of a $20 employee, depending on the state that you live, can cost you $26 or $30 an hour. But what's worse is the cost of turnover, because the cost of turnover can be your time, can be the anxiety of your classroom, it can be other people working overtime, burning out. So the replacement of a teacher can run you more than $5,000. You want to take time to really understand your staff, their needs and their wants, and really minimize the turnover. Even though that is an element in our program, I discuss ways that you can plan to have a more structured exit for your employee and an entry for your new employee. 26 to 40% is the national average for staff turnover in childcare. And I actually believe it's a lot higher. I believe it's around 55 to 60%. And that is something that really needs to be considered. Include recruiting, training, loss of enrollment, parent dissatisfaction, anxiety, people working overtime. The cost can run up a lot more. Your payroll is 60 to 70% of your revenue. So in this landmine number 2, understanding your employee real cost is key. You must understand that $20 to you has to include FICA, FUTA, federal and state unemployment, and workers' compensation insurance. And so when you think about the cost of the hourly rate or even the salary, you have to add at least 10 to 15% to that base hourly rate to start including these additional taxes. This does not include time off, because unlike other businesses, when a staff takes time off, we have to replace them with another person of equal or likeness that has been fingerprinted, past background checks. So our costs in the childcare daycare business must consider almost double the hourly rate. You give the staff vacation and personal time. You need to account for someone else coming into that space and being able to fulfill that role. But there are ways that we can mitigate that, and I'll share that with you as well in a different episode. Mistake number 3, operating without the right legal shield. If you have your business under your own personal name with your own social security number, you're exposing yourself to liability, a slip and fall, a home situation, a business debt automatically transferring to your personal credit. While you have an LLC or an S Corp, you are creating a different business. You're creating an entity, something that protects your personal home. If you're married or with a partner, it protects their personal asset. So it is so important for you to really have the right formation from the very beginning. As you form your LLC, it takes time to build that credit and that history. And so the sooner you form it, when you decide that this is the path for you, the better it's going to be for you to be able to take advantage of the formation of that new business. This is very exciting, but it does require due diligence. It does require for you to be intentional and take the right steps. If a child is injured and you're sued under your personal name or social security, do you want them to come after your house? Your business entity, your formation is what protects you. That's very, very important. Mistake number 4, thinking insurance is just a line item. One of the things I heard that really saddened me is that in New York, more than 3 childcare insurance companies have left us. They're no longer providing us with childcare insurance. That means your childcare insurance is going to go up tremendously. In other states, you may have the advantage that these companies still provide coverage for childcare. And in doing so, you just got to make sure that the insurance is robust and that it covers the essential items that you need. Just because you get insurance doesn't mean that it's quality insurance. So you want to go with a quality insurance for childcare, but you also need business insurance to cover your building, your furniture, any repairs or damage that may be caused by a leaky plumbing, by a leaky pipe or electrical or things that are structural. So there are 2 types of insurance. Of 80% of child care providers saw liability insurance costs increase in 2024, while 62% reported increased difficulty finding affordable coverage. Like I just shared, that left the state. 64% saw premium increases experienced by some in a single year. So increases are going to be part of your expense. So how do you price that into your tuition, and how do you account for that in your expense line so it balances out your payroll expense? Treating insurance as a expense that leaves your business exposed when policies drops or premiums double overnight. And if you don't have insurance and you let your insurance lapse, and then later you decide to get insurance, guess what? There might not be any insurance company that covers you. You may have to go into the market where you go for state insurance, which is at a very expensive rate. And then you're going to have to wait to be with that state insurance for 1 or 2 years before they accept you in a private insurance company. So be careful that you don't lapse in your insurance if you decide to take it on because you are taking advantage of a grant or you're going to get a business loan. They're going to want to see those documents. And if your documents are not up to date, you may lose a great opportunity for expansion. So this is not something that you can just overlook or decide to play Russian roulette with. You must definitely maintain your insurance and be consistent with it. And if by any chance you're finding yourself that you cannot pay that month or you're falling behind, call them. They have a customer service number. They deal with thousands of businesses. And if you've been that great business, they will work with you. And I gave you tips on prior episodes on how you can take steps to avoid these types of situations. And mistake number 5, landmine number 5, running your business on a handshake and a hope. Oh, folks, please don't do that. If you've learned anything at all from my episodes talking to you these past few months, is that you must have documentation. You must have paperwork. You must have a contract. No parent handbook equals no legal protection. No staff contracts equal no retention leverage. No financial policy equals late payments. And how do you go ahead and have recourse if you didn't create any policy for late payments? And if they are consistent paying late, what is your recourse? Are you going to keep them after they're late 5 or 6 times? Or do you decide not to renew the contract? That includes your parent handbook. That includes your financial policies, your emergency procedures. What happens if your lead teacher's out? Or you as a director are going to be out? What happens if there's a plumbing issue? What is the state of command? Who communicates to the parents? What is the chain of command to communicate to the parents? For myself, when we had Sandy or we had a sinkhole, there is a set of commands that my teachers knew were immediately implemented the moment I called. I only had to call once and everybody knew what to do because every meeting we would have a recap of process and procedures. We would have our updated information in place, and any teacher from any classroom would be able to implement the emergency procedures at our school. What have you done to make sure that your emergency procedures are in place? A handshake is not a legal defense. Without a written signed policy, you have no leverage. When I had a parent that signed a contract, and in certain areas, I had them initial, and then I had them initial again because I didn't want them to just sign the last page. I wanted to make sure that those things that had to do with termination or late payments were understood, and they initialed there. And then one of the parents decided that they didn't want to pay their tuition, and we went to court. Guess what? It was my handbook and my financial policies that protected me. I have never lost a case in court because I made sure that I had the right attorney, making sure that my information stayed relevant, that my information stayed up to date. And that is so important. Remember the 9-month contract strategy. That is a written policy that protects your staffing and your family. And we discussed that on a prior episode. So I hope you tuned in. From mistakes to protection, decoding the next steps. We went over the 5 landmines, underestimating what it really costs to open a childcare program. I remember a colleague that was building a childcare center in the waterfront of Brooklyn. After a year, the childcare still didn't open. At the end, all the money spent on construction, all the money spent on renovations and building out, never ended up with a school at the end of the rainbow. When I took over the second location, the person there was intended on opening up a childcare center. He took a whole year to build out the school, and at the end ran out of funds and was not able to open a childcare center. Not knowing the true cost of labor. Labor is not just the salary, it is all the additional taxes that come along with it. You must understand for your state what those taxes are and what are the worker compensation laws associated with your state that will also be an additional tax per employee. Operating without the right legal shield. You must understand what type of business you're running. And if you're dealing with children and families and teachers, you must form the LLC or an S Corp. There is no excuse to do it under your personal name. It not only leaves you exposed and everything you work so hard exposed, but it leaves your loved ones, your children, your partner exposed. Do the right thing. Get the right formation. The insurance crisis, being underinsured or thinking that looking at your insurance policy or taking the cheapest one is the best route. That is a problem. Running your business on a handshake, never a good sign of a quality business. Now, on our next episode, we're going to go deeper into this. I love that. I love when we can really unpack the information. But I want to give you these sound bites so you can be prepared and start thinking ahead and thinking of the questions you want to ask me on our next episode. We're going to talk about the structure of your business like a fortress. Insurance isn't a cost, it's a weapon. Building a financial guardrails before you need them. Compliance is your best defense. And wealth is the ultimate protection. Don't forget to visit my website at beyondbusinesslearning.com because we're going to go deeper into this. I want to take a moment to thank you all for watching. You now have the armor. Next, we bring in the legal experts. We're going to be able to go deeper into these topics. I have experts scheduled for us this summer that are going to talk about insurance. They're going to talk about buying a business through a broker. They're going to talk about the attorney, how to cover yourself with the right protection and why that is so important. We're going to speak to someone at the Childcare Council that's going to give you insight about trainings, ways to reduce costs, and the services that they provide. So I'm excited about all the things that are yet to come.